and I'm looking at some of the games. Some of the games are decent deals. They tend to go on eBay prices more than they do on CEX prices. And what I have noticed is that their prices are very similar to the trade-in prices of CEX. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the free Trading Game Collection Challenge, the series where I look to build a video game collection without spending any money on it. In today's episode, I have 3 pickups, I think, where we spend some of the profit that we sort of freed up for ourselves in the last episode. If you've missed any of the videos so far in this series, there are nearly 60 of them linked in the description alongside today's sponsor. Thank you to today's sponsor, K4G.com, a digital goods platform for PC and console gaming. So if you're looking for the latest releases, such as Football Manager 2023, they have you covered with huge discounts. Even if you want to pre-order the latest games, from Forspoken to Dead Space, these also have pretty significant discounts. They also have 24/7 support and over 4,000 positive reviews on Trustpilot. They also carry a huge selection of gift cards, so whatever you're looking for, I'm sure there's something for you. If you use the code TVM at checkout, you get yourself a nice 10% discount. All the links are found in the description. So if you are new to the series and you can't be bothered to go check out the playlist that is linked down below, like I mentioned, let me just give you a very, very quick rundown. I go out, I buy things, I sell part of it on to make the money back. Sometimes we make a profit. That's how we've managed to accumulate £506 in total cash profit in this series. That is free money we can spend on whatever we want because we've made it through buying and selling and chopping and changing and whatever it may be. And then if we have anything left over from what I buy, we either put it into the collection, or if I don't want it, I take it to CEX, I give it to them, they give me a voucher and I buy the games that I want. It's quite literally that simple. Once a week, maybe sometimes a little bit more, especially through December. I think I'm probably going to do this a little bit more. I'm going to spend the profit. Like I said, we got £506. Was a little bit less than that at the start of the last episode, but we sold part of the collection. So didn't want the PlayStation 3 anymore, sold that for £60 as well as some of the games that we had. In these episodes, I don't really like to spend more than £15 on games that I wouldn't normally use credit for, but games I want. I'm not buying rubbish for the sake of buying rubbish. This collection isn't going to just be how many games can I fit on a shelf. It's going to be how many games do I want to play that I can fit on a shelf. I'm going to do things a little bit different today. We're going to go to a charity shop. I apologise for this footage. I don't know what it looks like. It's probably garbage. And it's because the GoPro is bad. Going to have to upgrade that soon. But also because the games are on a really high shelf and it just doesn't really compute. But anyway, there were a few games there that I like the look of. That I could have bought to maybe put into the collection, but they were maybe a little bit on the expensive side. But there was a GTA 4 on the Xbox 360 for £2. Disc looking decent condition, and it trades into CEX for £4. So I could have bought it and kept it because it was a good deal, but what I decided to do was just to sort of eke out a little bit more money from CEX. Going to trade it in, so I'm going to turn my £2 into £4. There was also a Need for Speed Underground there for £1, which I didn't even look to see how much it traded in for, because unfortunately there was a crack in the spindle and I'm pretty sure they wouldn't take that in CEX if they noticed, because interestingly enough, when I traded GTA in, he didn't even check the disc. Very, very strange, this CEX. They're either like, oh, you can't trade this in because there's a chip out of the plastic on the case, or they don't even look. They're just one extreme to the other. Anyway, we got ourselves £4 in credit for £2 spend. But if I can ever go into a charity shop and find something that I can trade in for double, I'm definitely going to do it. Unfortunately, none of the other charity shops I checked were in a position to offer me such deals. I went to Regenerate, which is essentially a pawn shop, and I'm looking at some of the games. Some of the games are decent deals. They tend to go on eBay prices more than they do on CEX prices, and what I have noticed is that their prices are very similar to the trade-in prices of CEX. So there's a couple of PlayStation 5 games there that are decent, where CEX are selling them for 20 and they trade them in for 12 or 15 or something. That's the price they tend to sell them for. So it's pretty good if you're looking to buy games here. I did think about 1 or 2 of them, but in the end, I kind of left it. I didn't leave that store empty-handed though, and that's for the next episode. But what I did then was I went over to CEX because I knew that there was one game that I wanted in particular. And a lot of people will probably roll their eyes, but I've seen a few reviews say that it's actually a good game, so I'm quite excited to get my teeth into it. But CEX have got a massive selection of PlayStation 4 games. There's just rows and rows of them. And to be quite frank, if someone gave me like $3,000 and said, look, you can only buy games in this CEX, I probably could spend all that money. And it wouldn't just be for the sake of it either. There are a lot of PlayStation 4 games that I want to pick up. But I've got to be like, not choosy, but there's going to be a certain time when I want to pick up some of these. Saying that, I did take a very long look at the PlayStation 5 section. The problem with PS5, there's a lot of games that I want there. However, when it comes to spending the profit, they're just a little bit too expensive. Far Cry 6, for example, looks like a decent game, although I know a lot of people will slag it off, and that's fine. But for £15 next gen, that is a bargain. That's just a really, really good deal. Unfortunately, £15 is the entire budget for spending the profit, so if I was to buy that and stick to my rule, my unwritten rule, that would be the only pickup, and then that would be a little bit boring. So I stayed clear of that one. There were a few Switch games. I can't remember, what was it? I can't remember what it was called. £8 though, and it looked okay from what I could tell on the back. I didn't look it up in any way, but £8 Switch game, you can't really go wrong with that either, because most Switch games tend to be fairly expensive. You're talking, £15 plus minimum, and some of them tend to go up in price as well. Surviving the Aftermath on the Switch is a game that I picked up quite cheap and is now worth quite a lot of money. And it's a game that I like the look of. That's why I picked it up in the first place. But it's a game that was cheap at once upon a time. So you're not going to lose anything from buying like an £8 or £10 Switch game, because I cannot imagine they're ever going to go below that price. I think the Switch will always hold value, which is pretty good. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Should we just dive straight into it? Should we just stop the waffle and dive into my pickups? I bought 3 things totaling £15.50. Now, that's a little bit of a lie, because it actually totaled £17.50. However, because we bought GTA and traded it in, we actually saved £2, so it comes to £15.50. So I actually only spent £15.50, not £17.50. Does that make sense? So I have gone over my unwritten rule by 50 pence, but I'm okay with it. So the first thing, 3 different platforms, 3 games, very exciting. The first one, I'm going to show you because that's the whole point of the video. But I'm going to show you this first because this is going to be one of 2. I'm going to pick up the second one, probably in the next Spending the Profit, so it might be a little bit boring. But this is The Evil Within on the PlayStation 4. Now, this one is a little bit special because it's not just The Evil Within. Oh no, we get... I'm going to make sure it doesn't fall out. We get a receipt. Always nice to have a receipt. We also get the soundtrack by the looks of things as well, which is pretty good, and the manual. So a lot in there really for £6. This was £6, just in case you didn't hear me the first time. Don't know why I said it twice. There's the disc. There's the everything else. This game's been one of those. All right, I've had it on the 360. I have played a little bit of this as well, so I'm not just going into this completely blind. I know I like it. I'm a massive fan of horror films, and survival horror games definitely up my alley, and this is absolutely no exception whatsoever. It doesn't really get spoken about enough for me, and the second one in that sort of same conversation as well. They are 2 very, very good games. I've watched a playthrough of the second one, so it's kind of been ruined for me, but that was ages ago, so I have forgotten a little bit of it. And I've played the first one a little bit as well, but on last gen, I should say. I think we own it on the 360. I'm waiting to trade it in to Insane Games when we go back there at some point. But for £6, I'm not going to say no to this game, and I'm pretty sure that Evil Within 2 is actually the same price, if not cheaper, than this. So for those 2 games to be in and around the £10 to £12 mark, absolutely banging. Very, very chuffed to put that on the shelf, and I'm going to have to work my way through quite a few games before I get to it, but when I do get to it, I am going to look forward to playing it. Now, let's talk about a console that we don't own for the time being, but a game that I think I'm actually going to need the console to play. What are you talking about? Of course you need the console to play. This is an Xbox 360 game, and the Xbox One that we have is backwards compatible with a large number of 360 games. I don't know if this is one of them. This is a game that a lot of people won't know about or have ever heard of before. It is Omerta City of Gangsters. I am a huge fan of this game. I own it digitally. I've played it a lot. It was very, very cheap once upon a time digitally, and I thought, why not pick it up again, put it in the collection. Unfortunately, as you can hear it rattling, it is only disc only. Only disc only? It is disc only, but it is worth picking up. There it is, £3.50. That's where the 50p comes in. I really, really like this game. And I don't know if they ever made any more or a second one or something. I probably should look that up. But really, really good game. This next game, I really want a game that's going to take a little bit longer to finish. Something open worldy, explory kind of thing. Almost like a Zelda game. And that's where this came in. I've seen this so many times on the shelf. And it's been really, really cheap. It's actually come down a little bit more since the last time I saw it. It is Immortals Phoenix Rising. Now, this game must have been a launch title, there or thereabouts. It is one of those almost over-the-top fantasy kind of things. It is trying to be Zelda in a way. I still think it looks good. And from what I've seen in terms of reviews of this game, people seem to think that it's very underrated. But for what it is on the PS5, I think that could be a fun game. And before I dig my teeth into Zelda games, because I've played them on the N64 and I've played older Zelda games, but I haven't played any of the newer ones on Switch. And before I do that, I want to try and get back into that kind of game. So I think I'm probably going to be looking at a lot of this kind of stuff going forward. You know, open world RPG games, essentially. That looks decent for £8. I am not going to turn my nose up at that, and I do want to bolster my PlayStation 5 collection. And I've said that about a few different collections along the way. Obviously, I want every collection that I have, PlayStation 4, Mega Drive, Switch, to be as big as they can be within reason. But I particularly want to grow the PlayStation 5 and the Switch sections. The problem with those sections is they can get expensive. Now, there are a very nice amount of PlayStation 5 games, I would say, that are under £20, so that's not too bad. But when it comes to the Switch, you do kind of have to pay premium for first-party titles such as the Marios and Yoshis and Zeldas and things, and I don't see them ever really coming down, so we are going to have to work some magic with those. But that's going to do it for the profit spend of today's video. Like I said, $17.50, but because of the little bit of jiggery pokery that we did with GTA, it cost me £15.50 to pick up those three games. Omerta, Immortal, and Evil Within. I like it. Nice little selection of games. Everything, they're completely different. They're going to go on the shelf. If you've picked up anything recently, please let me know what it was in the comment section down below. So in the next episode, I am going to spend some of that PlayStation 3 money. We're going to replace that console with something else. And I am actually going to move this around a little bit at the back here as well. We've got the movies down here. We're going to move those. Don't want them there anymore. They're going to go to their dedicated shelf for that series. Do have a little movie collection series. It's nowhere near as prevalent as this, but we'll still continue to update that as and when we go. But I think I'm going to move the 360 up. That's a collection I can see me building into quite a big way, actually, very, very soon. But until the next episode, thank you very much for watching. Till the next time, goodbye.